You have heard the term supermoto or sumo, and now you're wondering, is this a supermoto cross? What does a wrestler have to do with bikes? From idea to production bike, the supermoto class bike is making a comeback, or some might say it has fully made that comeback. From inner cities, rural towns, and everywhere in between, the supermoto is capable. You might have also seen them on YouTube as well, since in the last 5 years or so, they were highly popularized by American moto vloggers such as Jake the Garden Snake, Chase on Two Wheels, and many more. Before we jump into why supermotos are the absolute bee's knees, hello, I'm Yami Noob. I make wonderful motorcycle content right here on YouTube for free. Just kidding, you just paid me a few cents by watching some ad before this video. Thanks. Anyways, I'd love if you subscribed. My sweet editor needs to get paid, and unless I get more subscribers, he's probably gonna go hungry. Don't let Nate go hungry. Before we jump in though, you've gotta know about these motorcycles I'm giving away. We've got a brand new Yamaha R3 and Suzuki SV650 up for grabs. That's right, brand spanking new. If you click the link below to my merch, every dollar you spend gets you an entry to win, or you can sign up on our Patreon, get access to our Discord server, and support the episodes and earn chances to win that way. Over 1,000 people have signed up over there. They can't all be wrong. Click both links and learn how to get started because you're not going to want to miss out on this one, I promise. Now, without further ado, what is a supermoto? In today's riding world, a supermoto, or sometimes dubbed sumo for short, is a street-legal bike that can go off-road. The suspension is set up to handle jumps, the tires are set up to go off-road and on trails while still being able to maintain higher speeds on the road. These bikes are also 100% street-legal and DOT compliant. They have a horn, turn signals, plate light, headlight, and brake light. Supermotos are the cream of the crop when it comes to versatility, durability, and enjoyment. Examples of supermotos are the Aprilia SXV 550, the Ducati Hypermoto 950, the Honda CRF 450L, sort of, it's kind of a dual sport, the Suzuki DRZ 400 SM, and the Yamaha WR 250X. In addition to what is available in factory form, it's possible to convert dirt bikes over to supermotos. Let's look at a brief history of the bike. The idea of the supermoto was conceived and developed by a man named Gavin Tripp in 1979. His purpose was to see who the best motorcycle racer was from 3 different genres of racing, and so he said, let's combine them into a single race. People agreed and said, why not? So Supermoto was born on a course made of flat track, motocross, and paved road. The next issue was finding a bike capable of handling all 3 types of track, so dirt bikes became outfitted with street tires. Other parts were tweaked for the race. When riders returned to their home cities or even countries, the Supermoto gained popularity. The idea was new and fresh, and bikes were really fun to ride. In the year 2003, Supermoto made a comeback after the American Motorcycling Association, the AMA Supermoto Championship Racing Series began. Popularity grew when the races were televised. In 2009, the AMA Championship was canceled after the season. The AMA Supermoto returned in 2016 and is still running seasons. In addition to the AMA, small organizations run track days with Supermoto bikes across the country. There are many clubs around the country, so if you're interested, you can probably find one that runs a track event local to you. Now let's talk about versatility. Where other bikes fail, the Supermoto reigns supreme. When you consider the purpose of other motorcycles, the common theme is normally 1 or 2. The sport bike is used for high speeds, fast corners, and its agility on pavement. Cruisers are used for cruising. Dirt bikes are used for the dirt. For the Supermoto, every purpose is its purpose. A Supermoto can be commuted with, it can be highway driven, kind of, cornered on the street, taken over rough terrain, and then be used for cruising around town. Day, night, rain, sunshine, it doesn't really matter. This bike is always ready to go where you need it to go. What makes a Supermoto so versatile is its blend of agility and speed. Now, you won't be doing 150 miles per hour on a Supermoto, but you won't struggle to reach highway speeds to keep up with traffic. Even 250cc variants, because of their light weight, the Supermoto can adapt to almost any environment with ease. Supermotos have the uncanny ability to become unicycles as well. Popping wheelies can come easily. The bikes are very light in nature and have very little in the realm of fairings or parts that can break, and they're basically crash-proof given that dirt bike background. For the beginner that's too afraid to squid on a sport bike, trying the first few wheelies on a Supermoto might be easier if not safer. Let's discuss durability. It's not uncommon for Supermoto riders to drop their bike, pick it up, and continue on their way. I've seen plenty of Supermoto dudes bin it while doing wheelies and just keep going on their ride. I find it amazing, actually. If you try doing this on an R1 or a sport bike, it's unlikely that you'll come out unscathed and that the bike will still run or be in one piece. Supermotos are excellent beginner bikes because of the ability to withstand abuse, drops, and unforgiving riders. However, I would recommend that if you are looking at a Supermoto, just know that they are a bit higher in terms of their seat height, and the 450s are actually incredibly torquey and can be pretty tricky to ride. So I would stick to the 250cc class if you're looking to try out a Supermoto. If you've ever wondered where your riding limit is, I suggest you get on a Supermoto and find out. Low siding a Supermoto isn't as bad as it sounds, and it's definitely not as bad as doing it on any sport bike or cruiser. The Supermoto can be picked up and ridden again and again. Due to the popularity of the bikes used as Supermotos, the prices for parts are on the cheaper end with a huge following in the aftermarket. For some bikes, maintenance costs are lower than comparable sport bikes or cruisers. Now let's talk about enjoyment. So why do Supermotos rule? Well, the idea behind one is purely for entertainment. It's a bike that can go just about anywhere, do anything. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg. It forgives the person who drops it or crashes it, and it's capable of highway speeds. Riding one of these bikes might be the most fun you ever have on a motorcycle. Wait a minute, you try to tell me. Papa Yams, you like sport bikes, knee dropping, and leaning into corners. How does this relate? It relates, squids. Trust me, the Supermoto is a completely different type of ride. With its upright seating position and peppy throttle response from the single-cylinder engine usually, the Supermoto is fine for daily riding, commuting, and zipping around town, stunting, wheelies, and a little bit of off-road riding. If you've never been on a dirt bike before, but you have an endorsement to ride a motorcycle, you should try out a Supermoto. However, think of a road bike as a restriction. When you get on a Supermoto, you no longer have that restriction. You can hop curbs, blitz through gravel, sand, dirt, and simply enjoy your ride. However, the thing to remember here though is that while Supermotos are capable off-road because of their dirt bike setups, if you're running street-based tires, you're gonna have some trouble finding traction on trickier terrain, so that's where something like a dual sport would actually be better than a Supermoto, but Supermotos are a lot of fun for, I would say 75%, even 85% street riding and 15% off-road riding. It's the same reason why I fell in love with my Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. It has the same spirit as a Supermoto, except with a sweet V-twin and some cool retro looks. It's a bike you can bomb down anywhere and begs you to have fun. Don't let the same old sport bike or cruiser prevent you from having more fun. A Supermoto might be just what you need to spice up your riding life. Now, let's talk about building one. Ah yes, the Supermoto isn't really a class of its own at a dealership. Supermotos were forged under fire of the competition and are basically bastardized bikes to begin with. There has been a long tradition of riders building their own Supermotos out of old or cheap dirt bikes. Conversions are relatively easy, easier said than done. You begin with a dirt bike which is not street legal, and then you add parts onto it to make it compliant with public roadway use. A few of the parts you need are turn signals, taillights, mirrors, or other speedometers or engine hour counter. Because most Supermoto engines, if they're the 450 variety, are actually motocross engines and run on hours instead of mileage. For turning it into a Supermoto, changing the wheel and tire combination is a must. Depending on the bike, suspension components may need to be adjusted or swapped out. Some riders opt for changing the chain and sprockets for optimal gearing. If highway use is a must, gears cannot be too short. After all is said and done, the bike is now going to be able to go anywhere, including the streets, legally. However, many manufacturers do make factory-ready Supermotos. Most notably is Suzuki with the DRZ 400 SM, a factory-ready Supermoto from the DRZ 400 Dual Sport platform. KTM also comes in with the factory Supermoto with the KTM 690 SM-CR. Although both options can be pricey compared to building your own, I would personally just buy a factory-prepped Supermoto since it'll come with a factory warranty, and you won't have to worry about someone's hodgepodge project to worry about, but that's just Papa's 2 cents. Now, let's talk about what a Supermoto is not. What makes a Supermoto the bike that it is because of what it isn't. Here are some bikes in short definitions for their purpose. It may seem confusing to all the noobs, but that's why Papa Yams is here to help. Adventure bikes. Although capable on and off-road travels, the primary purpose of an adventure bike is to facilitate some off-road travel, but is not designed to handle dirt and gravel as a main use. There's definitely a need for adventure bikes, but the suspension, tires, handling, and weight make it a better road bike than an off-roader. You try picking up a 500-pound Africa Twin off-road and tell me how fun that is. Enduro. Some of these bikes have been marketed as being off-road only. Enduros hold more fuel, have reinforced components subject to damage, and the main purpose being longer distance off-road bikes. If you want to go camping far into the woods, this would be your means of travel. Scramblers. Marketed for the on and off-road enthusiast, the Scrambler is much more capable on paved roads and dirt roads as opposed to just curb hopping and disappearing into the woods. Scramblers are great for light trails and solid surfaces as opposed to the unknown such as mud, grass, and the forest, etc. However, most Scramblers nowadays, as opposed to days past, are pretty much just styling exercises. Dual Sport. Although the name implies dual as both street and dirt and trail, dual sports tend to be more trail and off-road suited than for road riding. Don't expect really great cornering or attaining super high top speeds with these bikes. Last but not least, the Supermoto is an escape artist. Once again, Baby Yam's Papa does not condone or encourage running from law enforcement, yet if you do end up in a situation where you do decide to run, please keep the cameras rolling so we can all watch it on YouTube. Since the Supermoto is a narrow and agile bike, they've been the choice for squids in the hood doing hood rat things with squid-like things and friends and such. In any situation where a Supermoto is pitted against a cop car, the Supermoto tends to win, at least that's what videos have shown me. The bike can rip down streets, corner hard, and then cross dirt and grass medians, tear through parks, and dive deep into the woods. Some Supermoto riders even bomb it through cities on sidewalks, up and down stairs, and even use elevators in parking garages. Other motorcycles would not be capable of such feats of wonder. Where a Turbo Busa fails, the Supermoto wins. A Busa, sport bike, or cruiser would be extremely limited to the streets. The Supermoto knows no boundaries. So, what are your thoughts on the Supermoto? Is it something you think you can swing a leg over and ride? Why or why not? Would it make a good beginner bike for you? As always, please let me know in the comments. I do love reading that. Don't forget to check out our motorcycle giveaway. Seriously, I've got a brand new R3 and SV650 ready to give away, and there's only going to be 2 winners, so check the links below and get started. And shout out to our Patreon and Discord user Cole, aka Crimson Gaming, who told me to surprise him on this shout out, so here you go. It's a surprise, you uncreative bastard. Thanks so much for watching and supporting. I truly do appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time. See you later. Fact. It can take a photon 40,000 years to travel from the core of the sun to the surface, but it only takes 8 minutes to travel the rest of the way to the Earth. Sounds like they need to jump on a Turbo Busa. Goodbye.